So first I moved back to America and I taught as a paraprofessional. Yeah, we a lot of back and forth here. So I taught as a paraprofessional in a high school self-contained special education classroom. And so that was my first kind of exposure to um, behavior analysis, maybe a bit more BMOD, to be honest. But that was when I first experienced like severe behaviors and all this stuff, and got my first kind of exposure to some elements of behavior analysis. Um, but I felt like in that situation, we still weren't able to like really meet their needs, and that's when I like knew that maybe working as a school teacher wasn't going to be my calling, but the behavioral consultant that would come in, that's where I started to gravitate towards and thought maybe that's going to be the route for me. So that's when I decided to take to complete a master's degree in ABA from the University of Cincinnati. I did that while teaching English in South Korea. I I had the itch to go back. So back in Asia for a year, teaching in South Korea while completing the master's degree, wrapped up my contract in Korea and wasn't quite ready to come back to the States yet. So that's when I got online. I found this website called idealist.org. I don't even know if it still exists at this point in time. But I just typed in Autism Asia just to see what was out there. And the listing popped up for a group of moms of children with autism in Kazakhstan. And I had never thought about Kazakhstan before, so I was like, "What's going on in Kazakhstan?" Sounds like a good time to me, you know? So I reach out and I was like, "What are you guys looking for?" And it was a psychologist actually who posted it, not one of the moms, and she said that there's a group of moms here. They formed a small center. They want someone to come and provide ABA therapy to their kids. And I said, "Well, if I come out and help the kids, like, that's nice and all, but then as soon as I leave, what good is that?" You know? I'm like, I'd rather come out and like empower the parents and really give some skills to the parents so that they can, have a lasting impact after I leave. And so I was like, I think that like 4 weeks would probably be the minimum that we would need to actually, you know, make a difference. And so they said, they arranged this date, arranged this flight, left Korea, traveled around a little bit, and wound up in Bangkok. I went back to visit my students.
Back
But
to
then
Thailand.
back to Thailand, and then I was actually meant to my flight got canceled, and then I didn't know if I was still gonna be able to make it or not, and it was like the hangover, like, Bangkok has her now, and I was just kinda stranded for a little while until they found a donor who purchased another flight for me to come, which was really nice. So they picked me up. This was in October. October in Thailand is very warm. October in Kazakhstan is freezing, which I was not prepared for, and I only had a backpack because I was backpacking through Southeast Asia. So I'm like a tank top and shorts in this backpack. They picked me up in the middle of the night, took me to a back alley to get my passport stamped,
Man,
and
this is
I was
great.
like, "This is probably legitimate," and then took me to one of the family's homes. You can't tell because you can only see my face, but I'm pretty small, I'm pretty petite. They gave me their children's clothes to wear so I could have warm clothes because I was ill prepared to be in what is essentially almost Siberia, if you could think of the weather. I was obviously not thinking of the weather when I set off on this. So then I woke up the next morning, they brought me to the clinic. Um, they flew me there, they got me there. I was thinking like, yes, they are really excited to have me here. And as it turns out, many of the moms were not super excited to have me there. They were quite skeptical actually that behavior analysis was going to help them, that it was appropriate for their country, that it's just this American thing, that it's dog training, and rightfully so. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, and they maybe have only had poor experiences with someone doing ABA that wasn't. So honestly, more power to him for being very skeptical. But it was definitely a tough situation to be in, when you think that you're kind of coming into something else, and then you realize this is not the situation that I thought I was going to find myself in. So uh, it it was tricky to where do you get started?
I
Where do you go with that?